Hello everyone, you're watching the Google Sheets channel, and today we have lesson 19 on Google Sheets. In this lesson we'll get familiar with the array formula function, and I'll show you how to automatically expand your formulas down the rows. So let's get started. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Let's go. So to begin, we first need to get familiar with the array formula function itself. How does it work? Let's imagine that we need to bring this set of data over here into this column, and how would we normally do that? We click like this, select the cell, and press enter. Then we simply drag it down to the number of rows we need, and our data set appears. What are the downsides here? The downside is that, for example, if we cut this data and paste it somewhere else, the formula will shift and we'll get an error. We don't want that. Let's press Ctrl Z. Also, if new data appears below, these formulas won't extend automatically. And if you're working with a large amount of data, you'll have to drag all the formulas down every single time. What does array formula do? Let's do it right here and write the same thing, but this time using array formula. We click like this, select A2, and press the key combination Ctrl Shift Enter. Here, our array formula is inserted automatically. We press enter and nothing happened. Why? Because we passed only the value A2 into the formula. To make it autofill downward, just like this, we need to pass the entire range that we want to use. Let's use A2 through A33. And just like that, with a single formula, we get the result. You see, there are no formulas in these cells. It's just data. With one action, we fill all the cells with our range. And if we now do this, remove it and make the reference absolute, it will work for the entire range. Wherever we add new data in column A, it will all be filled automatically. You see, and here, nothing will happen. Here we would have to drag the formulas down manually. This is the simplest demonstration of how array formula works. Now let's move on to more complex examples. For instance, we need to divide this by this. Here we also get a result, and we can copy it down to fill the column and get all the results. But if new rows appear below, we will start getting errors. So how do we do the same thing using the array formula function? Exactly the same way. Here we need to insert the exact same formula, but this time we have to specify the entire set of data that will be involved. So we select the full range. Let's make it absolute. Or, for example, let's use up to I10. And we do the same for the range we want to divide by, D10. And right now this will not work. We've finished building our formula. Again, we press Ctrl Shift Enter. These are the hotkeys for inserting this formula. We press enter, and now our formula is expanded. It's a very simple formula, but it already works the same way. If we now make these ranges absolute, then just like here where we simply dragged the formulas down, it will start showing errors for the entire column all the way to the bottom. We don't want to do it that way. So what can we do? How would we fix this in a regular formula? We would use the if function. We say, if D2 is not empty, then we return the result of this formula. Otherwise, we return an empty value. We press enter. Now we drag the formula all the way down, and we get empty values where needed. We can do the same thing with our array formula, but using just one single formula. Let's copy it like this. Here, we insert the if function inside. But now, instead of D2, we specify the entire D2:D range, so it applies to the whole dataset. Next, we enter what should be executed if the condition is true, and then we return an empty value if the condition is false. We press enter, and now our condition will always be applied. Wherever we insert data, the results will appear. Now let's call it that. Next example. Let's see how we can use a more complex lookup function. We delete this data. We don't need it. And let's also delete this part here. How would we normally work with Vlookup or Xlookup? Let's take the simpler option, Vlookup. We select the ID. Then we go to another sheet where this data is stored. We select the range, making sure that the first column contains the value we're searching for. And then we specify which column number we want to return. Column number 2. We press enter, then drag the formula down and see if it works. Yes, 120, 150, 130. Everything is calculated correctly. Now how can we make all of this work with just one single formula? We copy all of this, insert the equal sign, select our formula, wrap it with Arrayformula, Ctrl-Shift, enter to confirm. And here we specify B2:B. We lock this part. And then we press enter. As a result, we get the same thing we did, but again using just one formula. And here we still have errors. So what do we need to do next? We write our if condition. B2 to B is not empty, and if the condition is not met, we return an empty value. Press enter. And now we have a fully working, large solid formula. You can do this with many functions that work with arrays. The only thing to keep in mind when working with Arrayformula is that if you enter any values into these cells, you will break the entire formula. In other words, it must work over an empty range. If you specified the B2:B range here, then you are not allowed to type any data anywhere inside this range. Otherwise, you will get an error. Accordingly, these cells must always remain empty. They should be filled only by this formula. And finally, one more example where you can use Arrayformula. And this one will most likely be very useful in real practice. It's about how to work with Arrayformula together with dates and how to use them inside other formulas. Let's enter some dates here. We press Ctrl plus semicolon. This is the quick keyboard shortcut for inserting the current date. Then we drag them down to fill a certain range. Next, we add some numbers here. And now right here, I want to get the total for each month. So right now we have month 11 and month 12. And now I want to get how much was sold in month 12 and how much was sold in month 11. How would we normally do this? We would use the Sumif function. We select the range, but there is one detail. Here, I don't need the full date. I need only the month. So I need something like this. Month, press enter. And now I can see where we have month 12 and where we have month 11. Next I type in 11 and 12 here. And now we use a Sumif. We change this part. Then for the criteria we select this value. And then we choose the sum range, press enter. We drag it over here and we get two results. So this method works, but it's not very convenient. And since we're learning Arrayformula here, how can we do the same thing with Arrayformula? First, we need to virtually convert column A into month numbers. How do we do that? We can do it like this. Month. We select our range. But this time, not column D, we select column A and press enter. And right now, this will not work. Because if we copy it and paste it over here, we'll see only one single result. In other words, it's not working as an array. And it doesn't pass the entire column A into the function, so for this to work correctly, we need to use our Arrayformula. If we now apply our Arrayformula, then we turn the entire thing into a full array, exactly the way it's supposed to work. So what do we need to do here? Right? We write Arrayformula around this part, close it, and press enter, and we get the exact same result. Now we copy it downward, and we also get a correct working result, but this time using column A. And you can build similar variations and combinations with the year as well. You can write year here and use it in the same way. Since we have just one year here, the result will be the same, days and so on. You can use anything you need with Arrayformula. You turn your data into an array like this and you get the results you want. I think everything is clear. I hope this video was useful for you. If it was, don't forget to leave a like. If you enjoy my videos, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.